Okay, today we are playing a game on the Temple of Anubis. We are in the Diamond SR range, and we will be playing Widowmaker, Hanzo, and Tracer, though far less of Tracer compared to the other two. Also, current team composition is Reinhardt, Zarya, Genji, Widowmaker, Mercy, and Ana. So, fine, basically, and I don't have much to say about it. You might notice I've put a timer on the screen, and there's a reason for that. And that is, there's been one very consistent thing with all of the Widowmaker games we've seen so far, and that's that they never use Venom Mine. One video, we literally never used Venom Mine the entire game. So I watched this video through already ahead of time, and guess what? We don't use Venom Mine very frequently. But I want to illustrate this point more clearly by having a timer, and we will stop it at the first time we use Venom Mine to clearly illustrate my point. Because it's very bad efficiency to never use one of your abilities, especially one that has a persistent effect on the map, right? Like the Venom Mine out there doing something is better than just having no Venom Mine on the map at all. Similarly to like Junkrat, just put a bear trap somewhere, right? Like have it doing something rather than nothing. So anyway, let's start the game and the timer. So we've got to attack Anubis first, which is a very arduous process a lot of the time. Now we do opt into something pretty dangerous right at the start, which is to jump up here. And this is pretty standard for Widow, but we're fighting another Widow, and the other Zenyatta is shooting at us as well right now. So we're in a pretty scary position overall, and we click on the bad men well enough, so it ends up not mattering either way. But it's a very aggressive position to take against so many things that want us dead. Also, we've just hookshotted up here. When they've got diving heroes on the enemy team, like Winston and Genji, you gotta be really careful when you decide to use the hookshot, because if they see you use it, and then they're like, well, that's got a long-ass cooldown right there, I'm just gonna jump on Widowmaker and kill her. So you gotta be really careful when you decide to use hookshot aggressively to move forward into position, because if you use it aggressively at a bad time, you get punished for it. So, anyway, though Winston, he might still kill you anyway, because he gets to jump twice on your hookshot cooldown, so life is difficult sometimes that way. But we have done a good job of clicking on the bad men, and that's all you can really ask, isn't it? We're pretty good at clicking on men, which is a lot of Widowmaker. It is also the unfortunate thing with watching a video about, like, an execution-heavy hero. There is just kind of less to say about it a lot of the time. Unless they're an execution-heavy hero that also has a lot of stuff going on. Not to imply Widowmaker is also purely click on the bad men's heads, because you've got other things you can do. You can abuse sight lines to zone the enemy team, there's positioning stuff, there's cooldown usage, there's all kinds of stuff. So it's not just click on the bad men, but there's a lot of click on the bad men. So I always find it a little bit harder to talk about Widowmaker, because aim better is worthless advice. So we did lose this Widowmaker fight, but Mercy on our team comes over to res us. We said no, don't res, because, you know, we assumed Widow would come for us, but Genji killed the enemy Widow, or Widow would kill Mercy while she came for us, but Genji killed the enemy Widow, so it didn't matter. We do sit over here for quite a while, even when I feel like we start getting a lot less value out of this sightline, because it starts to get very difficult for us to shoot past these pillars, basically, when the fight moves on to the objective. We also got hit by Fire Strike right there, which sucks, but we're at 100 health right now, and we stay at 100 health for a really long time without actually going to get health or, like, anything. So, you know, we spammed I need healing, cool, but we don't want to just be standing around at 100 health, so we could either go and try to find a healer to make it easier for them to heal us, or go find a health kit, because suddenly risk of just sudden death is significantly higher when you're sitting around at half health for an extended period of time, largely not moving and staying in the same spot, so they definitely know where we are. And you might think we'd use the Venom Mine right here to try and defend against this Genji who's jumping on us right now, which is a fair use of Venom Mine, but no, we actually don't still. So this timer is getting pretty up there at this point, isn't it? And, you know, like, just do something with it. You can use it to guard against flankers, you can use it to help you in a fight, you can just chuck it at the enemy team. And, like, bare minimum, it does some damage to them, makes it easier to kill people, and if absolutely nothing else, it gives you some free ult charge. Just, like, do something with the Venom Mine rather than nothing with the Venom Mine. So anyway, we've lost the momentum we had going previously. Now we have to try and start the momentum again, which is difficult to do a lot of the time, especially when your team always likes to stagger themselves. We did manage to fend off the Doomfist that was fighting us, so feels good, man. You know, there we could have chucked a Venom Mine at the enemy team right there even. You know, we could have used Venom Mine. We are coming up on when we use Venom Mine, though, so we're almost there. We're almost there. Look, we just used it. We just used Venom Mine after 4 minutes and 14 seconds. That's a really fucking long time to not use an ability, right? Because Overwatch heroes predominantly are determined by their ultimate, but the other important thing about the heroes are their abilities. I would argue very few heroes in the game are actually defined by their weapons. They're defined by the abilities and ultimates they have, more than anything else. You could argue Widow is one of the more, like, dependent on her weapon heroes, sure, but, like, she's not the only sniper in the game, and she still feels different to all of the other snipers because of the abilities surrounding her, right? Like, Ashe, theoretically, is pretty similar to Widowmaker, but they don't really play the same way at all, because it's not the weapon that defines them. And we just went through a really long period of time never using one of our defining features, which is really bad efficiency. I wanted to just close the program right there, but hey, you know, now you know what it is, I suppose, as well. It's mostly used for speedrunning, but I was like, hey, I want a timer for this, actually, so that was just what I used. So we get into a scuffle over here. We decided not to play Widow anymore because it's starting to get a little bit difficult with all of these bad men jumping on us a lot of the time. So we changed to Hanzo, who is a little bit more resilient to dive, and we're using the Three Kingdoms skin, which is very upsetting to me because they always fuck up Lu Bu, but I've had this argument like 5 times with myself over the last couple weeks, so I'm not going to go over it again. Suffice to say, this is a bad skin and he should be Lu Bu, rather than Reaper. So we got into a scuffle with Tracer right there, but we managed to click on her. She says, nice shot. We have different definitions of nice shot. I'll point again to something later that happens to show you our different definitions of nice shot. Anyway, I mean, you know, we're firing whole fucking trees at that woman, right? So Tracer's coming around again. We decide to go for a really aggressive play, which is to look for Tracer, which is already coming more into Tracer's area than we really want to, right? Like, Tracer kind of wants to be right on top of us. We don't really want to be right on top of the person as Hanzo, right? But we went looking for her anyway. Turns out Genji came to help her, which makes things more difficult, but we were already kind of doing something pretty greedy. Here's what I call a nice shot. Tracer doesn't say nice shot for that one, though, because now she's mad. But that was an actual nice shot. People have different definitions of these things, it seems. So we get into a scuffle with Genji again. We do keep going on really far off to the side, right here, and we kind of isolate ourselves from our team a lot. It doesn't really matter, I suppose, if you just fight off all of the people that have come to kill you. But going all the way over there does isolate us from our teammates because we have to actually, like, go over the wall to get back to them again. And I mean, we're playing Hanzo. We've got decent, like, we're a decently independent hero. We can defend ourselves when people jump on us, but generally we position, like, kind of greedily or just, like, isolate ourselves from our teammates, and we never really get punished for it because quite a lot of the time we just fight the person off in this game. But we do some greedy positioning stuff, so I want to go back here to illustrate not super efficient use of cooldowns. So we see Tracer. Tracer actually doesn't know we've seen her right now, because the arrow we just fired hit the wall without passing by her. So she's currently still like, no one suspects a thing. I'll wait for them to pass, and then I'll get them. So we could just, like, put Sonic Arrow at our feet right now. We know exactly where Tracer is when we come around the corner. Instead, we go around the corner with Sonic Arrow drawn, which is sort of defeating the point of the ability a little bit. If we're gonna go around the corner just like that without using Sonic Arrow, alright, fair enough, we think we can just shoot her in the head, right? Or we go around with Storm Arrow and decide to use that instead. So we just kinda don't use our abilities that well. Like, you could just use Sonic Arrow, but instead to see her around the corner. But we go around the corner with Sonic Arrow drawn. So it's like we thought about that step and then decided not to go through with it at the end. You know, whatever. So Nano Blade's just gone in. Enemy Genji also uses Dragon Blade right here. We're expecting him to come out the other side here. Unfortunately, he just hops back up again and kills Anna. So, you know, we expected him to go that way. He didn't go that way. That sucks. So things like that, they're going pretty well at this point, right? But unfortunately, we did lose our main healer right at the start of this fight, which is not ideal, to say the least. We do click on some bad men again. We're trying to get Lucio right now. Lucio's a pretty hard guy to hit. We are standing in a pretty scary place to stand right now because this is the way the enemy team is likely to reinforce from, right? This is the way they most commonly go. They don't usually go right out of this spawn. They usually go left. And we're standing on the left right now. So this is a scary place for us to just be standing, unmoving. And I mean, just generally try not to stand perfectly still if you can avoid it, because it just makes it easier for you to get shot. McCree pulls off a pretty sick maneuver here. I didn't actually know you could do this until I saw this replay. He rolls over this gap. Look at that. Incredible. I didn't know you could do that. You learn something new every day. I would also like to point out that this McCree skin is extremely hideous, though, because it looks like he's wearing fucking marigold cleaning gloves. It looks awful. I don't really associate like McCree with Windex and cleaning, but that's what that skin makes me think of from the first person, just because of the fucking color of the gloves, pretty much. Anyway, so a lot of skins in this game are bad, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed. Punk Tracer, hideous skin. Punk Zarya, hideous skin. Young Genji and young Hanzo, awful, terrible, very bad skins. This Hanzo skin, bad, because he should be Lu Bu, but still a bad skin. There's a lot of bad skins in this game. A lot of bad skins. There are some very good skins, though, so it all balances out, I suppose, in the end. As much as I begrudge to admit it, the Lu Bu Reaper skin looks good, at least. You know, we got like Byakko Genji, so it's all good. You know, it evens out in the end. So, we don't get very far on this one. We're a little late to get to the point. Let's be real, we weren't going to win the point by then. We did get some percentage on the second checkpoint, though, and as far as I'm concerned for Temple of Anubis, that's a success. How many games have you played on Temple of Anubis where you captured the first point almost instantly, and then spend 7 minutes grinding on the second checkpoint to capture 0%? I know I've played a fair few games like that. 2CPB like that sometimes, you know. I've only gotten to play on Paris a couple of times, but it feels very Anubis-esque to me off the few times I have gotten to play on it so far. I can't say I'm a huge fan of the map. I do quite like it aesthetically. Like, I think it's a very good-looking map, but I think, just off my initial impressions off the map, it's fucking a nightmare for both parties involved. Just like Anubis feels really bad to attack and defend, paradoxically enough, Paris feels the same way. It's not as bad as Horizon Lunar Colony is, though. And that's really all we can ask for, isn't it? So many of the new maps I absolutely loathe, because I hate Paris, I hate Eichenwald, I hate Rialto, I really fucking hate Horizon Lunar Colony. Oasis was fine. They can have Oasis. Oasis was a good map. Busan's acceptable. Everything else, I've kind of hated it, to be honest with you. Rialto, I still think, is one of the worst balanced maps in the entire game. But they don't seem to be particularly interested in adjusting that map, so I guess they're fine with it. I still think Rialto is fucking awful. I used to think Horizon was the worst map in the game, and I still think it's definitely up there. It's better after they changed it. Horizon's better now. It's still bad, though. Rialto, I think, is easily the worst map in the game. I fucking can't stand that map. It is the one that fills me with dread the most. I used to, when I heard we are now traveling to the Horizon Lunar Colony, I would think, oh, fucking hell. But now I'm like, it's not Rialto though, is it? It's not Rialto, and that's the important thing. At least put fucking unbreakable barriers on this fucking bridge right at the start of the map. Like, there's fucking unbreakable barriers on the other bridge. Come on. It's so ridiculous. It's so bad. I hate that map so much. Anyway, we're on Temple of Anubis right now. Hot take, map design in this game could be better. Could be better. So we're up to no good. We're in one of the Tracer segments right now, as you can see. It's not terribly long. We do decide to fight the other Tracer. I'm not a big fan of, like, Tracer fighting Tracer, Genji versus Genji, or Tracer versus Genji, or vice versa, because both parties can kind of just decide to leave whenever. Best case scenario is obviously you kill the other person, but even when you do, unless one of you is dramatically better than the other, it always takes a really long time. And, like, there's a very little chance you actually kill the person, because both parties are just so good at leaving a fight if it goes badly, right? So it tends to just not really be worth the effort unless they are adamant in having this fight with you, which sometimes they are. Anyway, so it gets very hectic for a little while in here. Both Tracers currently no recall. Their Tracer doing a little bit worse than us. Fuck, she picked up the health kit. Oh god, recall back out. Alright, come back around. Tracer's dead. I fucking thought that Reinhardt was the enemy Reinhardt. It's like, oh god, he's gonna pin us, even though that doesn't make any sense because he physically went through us by the time I saw him, but you know. So right here, we want healing, but we decide to keep going forward while we want healing at the same time. We could just go back, wait for the health kit, go back around the corner to get healed by the healer that's in that room. Because that's Mercy right there in that room. But we go away from the room that has the health kit and the Mercy in it and keep going forward while we're low health. Mercy does manage to get us before we go back around the corner, but you really don't want to be advancing into the enemy team when you need healing, especially as a hero as soft as Tracer is. Also, recall's on cooldown right now on top of that, so we already should be more careful because recall's on cooldown. Because when recall's on cooldown, you're dramatically more vulnerable than when recall's off cooldown. So we're doing a couple of really scary things right now at the same time. It would be scary to do that at low health, and it would be scary to do that while recall's on cooldown. But we're doing it while both things are happening, so it's double scary. But then we just get clapped by Genji and the bio grenade at the exact same time. And we end up getting killed. Life is difficult that way sometimes. We go and fight over this objective. Don't go fight over this objective. It's absolutely gone. Genji even uses Dragon Blade right as we're arriving. So we definitely should have backed out by that point. We shouldn't have come over here anyway, but when he uses Dragon Blade, absolutely, definitely gone. And we even commit our ult to it. Like, bare minimum, don't commit your ult to it. But we shouldn't have gone to fight over it in the first place. That was absolutely gone long before we arrived. And then Genji went, the dragon becomes me. And like, when somebody tells you, this is just good life advice. When someone tells you that they're becoming a dragon and they draw a blade, you should not engage with that person anymore. They are not trustworthy. So anyway, we've changed back to Hanzo now. That's the first Tracer segment gone. We do play Tracer again in a little bit, but again, there's not a lot of Tracer in this game. Just enough I felt like I had to include her, but not very much. Something I wanted to point out right here we did, which is getting more efficiency from our cooldown again. Because we use Sonic Arrow right here, and we chuck it up there, because we're predominantly concerned with Genji right now. If we go forward a little bit, we can see the AoE does not actually reach the ground. So we could use this a little bit more efficiently, rather than chucking it like there. We're mostly concerned about Genji right now, but we can still get more value out of it. Because if we aim it like here instead, that will see Genji up there, and it will also see the people on the ground coming through the doorway. So we will get slightly more bang for our buck with one cooldown if we chuck it more in between these 2 points rather than just solely at Genji. We could use it to give the team utility as well. They mostly just rush through the doorway anyway, so it doesn't end up becoming a massive thing because they don't really play around the cover. But you'll want to use your cooldowns as efficiently as possible. YouTube's having a bit of trouble right now, it would seem. Is it because it's on auto, by any chance? It is on auto. We'll just set it to 1080 and see if that helps. My internet's fine. Oh, it even feels like it's slowing down a little bit. That might be my fault. Did I change the time on the speed on this by accident? No. I have, however, now put that on the screen by pushing a button, and I didn't notice that I had done it, so whatever. Seems fine now. So this is pretty aggressive as well, coming all the way out here. I know we're trying to, like, pick people off and maybe get a stagger, but someone like Tracer comes over to pick a fight with us. Again, we just kill the person that comes to get us, so it ends up working out. But that was pretty greedy positioning as well. There's yet one more instance of greedy positioning not going punished, though very close to getting punished. This is very greedy to come all the way up here, because we already know bad men are over here, right? And we still come all the way over here. We're just very far away from our teammates, you know? Anna can at least reach us and heal us, so that's cool, but we got like a long way to go to get back to safety. And if a bad man comes for us, look how isolated we are from our teammates all the way over here. They're literally behind like 1 or 2 walls, depending on where they're standing, and they're very far away. We're all alone over here. So we get into a fight with this Genji. We actually win. Even though one of those particle effects looks like it went straight through our fucking body. Let me slow it down to half speed to illustrate to you how dead we should actually be. Because first off, you'll notice that arrow is not actually going through Genji. It's just adjacent to Genji, because that's how good hitboxes are sometimes. Projectile heroes need to have pretty generous hitboxes. That one went through us, but it's fine. It didn't actually hit us, even though the particle effect definitely looked like it went through our camera. I've pushed a button on the number pad by accident, and now we've fucking moved along the timeline. Ha, ha, ha. It's okay, we'll just, you know, where's Hanzo? Where's Hanzo in the cave? This looks like it was Hanzo in the cave. Did we just kill Genji? Yes, we did, so this is roughly correct. Back it up a little bit more. Here we go. So yeah, we go for some pretty, like, greedy positioning stuff, and because we could even right there, we could just go back over the wall to our own teammates, and that would be a lot safer than what we elect to do, because we were literally just in a position where we could go, I'm back with my team, no longer at risk, but we went closer to the danger, pretty much. So this fight breaks out. Zarya, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's what she did. Tracer did arrive to use Pulse Bomb, but it was kind of already over by that point, so it was not a very good coordination. I'm a thirsty boy. So we've got Dragon Strike built up. Now, bad news, right after we changed to Hanzo, our Zarya changed to Diva, so we don't get to combo anymore, sadly. This guy, he was upset. Oh my god. I forgot this happens. I like that we didn't immediately use Dragon Strike, which is the reaction some Hanzo players have to this situation, because, fun fact, they made it so damage boosts don't work on the dragon anymore. It used to, but they changed it. Doesn't work anymore. So I'm glad we didn't get nano boost and then just immediately go, I gotta Dragon Strike them. Though, I was just listening to Genji because he was really angry that Anna missed him, apparently. Which, if she did misclick on us, it was a pretty legendary misclick given the position we were in, huh? So, it felt like it had to have been a deliberate choice, but I can't imagine roughly how it would go, which is like, she tries to get Genji while he's like up here or something. Genji dashes or something, and then we're in the line of sight. So I can imagine how it happened, but like, if she clicked on us by accident, that has to be a pretty fucking legendary misclick right there. So anyway, it didn't really matter that much. All's well, it's fine. We fended them off again. We got Hammond here. We got some Stally boys, and we're on Anubis, so you know how life is. We're out here looking to pick somebody off right now. I'm not really that bothered about it. It's not that, like, as soon as we see them regrouping, we can go back across the bridge with relative safety. It is still a little greedy, but relatively low chance of getting punished for it. And I mean, staggering people is really good, if you can manage it, you know? The thing is, not overextending while you're doing it. So the Genji uses Dragon Strike. This is pretty greedy to go for this, to be honest with you, because I can really easily imagine a world where Hanzo, or Genji rather, sees us come around the corner, and then goes, Transcendence sees line of sight, and then starts killing us in this room, and we just get line of sighted from Transcendence, so we end up getting killed in here because we went after Genji rather than staying in line of sight to Transcendence. So I can imagine a world where that happened. That didn't happen, but if Genji was paying a little bit more attention, he could see us doing that and think, need line of sight. So Zarya suddenly became incredibly powerful partway through that. So he trains to Tracer right here, which is fair enough. We want to get back in time to contest the objective. But to be honest with you, right, like, fair enough, fight's happening, I died, I'll change to a fast hero, fair enough reaction. But when I see this happen, I'm looking at this right now. To be honest with you, it's not that close. It looks like we're still winning. I want to change back to Hanzo real quick, because we're at 90% charge right now. And I really don't want to drop 90% charge. Dragon Strike's not that great without something to combo it with, but you don't want to just drop a 90% ult charge if at all possible, you know? It's still good to have an ultimate. I've also only really just noticed how much difficulty I'm having seeing the UI against this fucking map, because we have default colors on, pretty much, it looks like. And I can't see our ult charge. Like, at all, to be honest with you. Personally, I'm colorblind, so, you know, you might disagree with this one, but I find neon blue for the allied team and lime green for the enemy team contrasts very nicely against most maps, but I am colorblind, so, you know, maybe that's just me. It's a good thing the colors are fucking labeled, or I'd be completely lost on that one, but no, they actually labeled the colors nicely enough. But I find they contrast very nicely against the most maps. So we're up to no good right now, sneaking around, trying to creep up on people. Tracer benefits from doing a little bit of waiting in the shadows and then popping out. This, you know, you hate to see it happen. Watch this, my man just got a good right click into us and dashed at the same time. And he didn't plan it at all. That was absolutely an accident, he agrees. But life is difficult like that sometimes. Sometimes you get fucked like that time that we fucked Tracer when we were playing Hanzo a couple times, huh? We used our massive lumber shaft on the tiny English girl, and it worked out very well for us. Ha ha ha, innuendo. In your endo. We have fun round here. I'll make sure to get a mug that says life's a beach. We have fun round here. Genji's apparently, not Genji. McCree is apparently using Deadeye somewhere, but this is news to me, frankly. We were trying to be very sneaky and jump out behind people, which is good to do if you can do it as Tracer, but we ended up, like, I didn't really know what was going on most of the map, to be honest with you, so we might I feel like we weren't doing a good job of keeping track of what's going on still, but skulking around and waiting as Tracer is usually beneficial, because if you just pop out behind someone and one-clip them, it's harder to react to. So this Zarya ultimate was incredibly good right there, very good use of company resources. So this was also, I was very upset with this moment right here. I get the impression we tried to, like, blink up and pulse bomb right here, but just messed up, because this looks like a blink pulse bomb maneuver, but then we recall without using pulse bomb, so I get the impression this was a mistake. And then we do this, and it's like, who are we aiming at? Reinhardt? I already don't like sticking tanks. Like, I didn't like sticking tanks before they nerfed the damage on Pulse Bomb, right? But then they specifically nerfed Pulse Bomb's damage to make it less good to stick tanks, so I'm really not a fan of sticking tanks now, unless you have, like, worked something out with your team, or you know you can do the follow-up damage to them, or they're just low enough it'll kill them anyway, you know? That's a direct solution. But, like, who are we aiming at? Best case scenario, we hit Reinhardt. Even if we were aiming at Reinhardt, that was pretty optimistic aim. Like, you'd have to run into it, to be honest. Like, so I really didn't like that use of company resources. It was, oh fuck, she's dead. It was pretty upsetting to me. So anyway, we've got a lot of stalling, boys. We're on Temple of Anubis. Things are looking bad, but bad is very relative when you have the stall team defending on Anubis. Because look, Oh, they all assemble out there. We actually changed to McCree now, very briefly, but like they've got 14 seconds on the clock right now, so this is definitely going to be a short McCree period, isn't it? I don't like doing this because right now, like, we're still pretty much in stall mode. Like, it's not clear if we would have won the fight by that point, right? I would have rather just stayed on Tracer. There wasn't the ultimate concern that time, but, like, just being fast in this scenario is going to be good. And we don't change to the stalling hero right now, even though things right now are not looking very good, right? Like, this looks like it's bad. And we stay on McCree. McCree's very slow. Now, I'll give you, McCree is good against that composition because of the flankers, but the time for McCree was like fucking 30 minutes ago, my dude, right? Like, now is not the time for McCree, because we have to physically walk our ass back over here, which is very slow. Don't manage to kill the enemy Genji right there. Very tragic, very upsetting. We're doing a lot of fanning the hammer, which, you know, that's McCree. That's being a cowboy a lot. And hey, look at that. Ah, we did it. We still won. No problem. Even though it was close enough, it was the first time I saw it, I was like, wait, did we win? Right? You know, it was that kind of arrangement. Who got played the game? Moira? Really? Moira? I guess there wasn't a big money ultimate, was there? I guess. That's the thing, if there's a Moira in the game and she used Coalescence, if nobody had a really big play, Moira probably got it. Because Coalescence tends to just put up very high stats, which is like, you know, a lot of healing, a lot of damage, which is favored by the system pretty much. So if nothing big happened, it is usually Moira, but that wasn't a particularly exciting one all the same. So, thing that stood out the most, you know, we're in Diamond, so we largely know how to play the game by this point. We weren't very efficient with our resources, our cooldowns, basically. I even got a timer out for one of them just to try and illustrate really clearly how inefficient we were with it. So, cooldowns. We also do some greedy positioning stuff. We didn't get punished for it as many times as we should have done, really, because we just managed to fight the attackers off. Like, there was that time we were isolated on the right side of Anubis. Genji and Tracer came for us at the same time. We're isolated from our team, so realistically they should kill us. But we killed both of them. So, don't get punished, don't have to learn, but, you know, we did some greedy stuff we shouldn't have gotten away with, but we did get away with, so hey, life is good, right? But basically, some greedy positioning stuff and cooldown management was the stuff that stood out to me the most in this game. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord, ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I've started streaming on Twitch Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 7 p.m. EST till roughly 10 or 11 p.m. EST, depending how it goes. So far, we've only played Overwatch, but we'll play some other games at some point, I'm sure. If you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and I hope you found the video helpful.